Hello, friends. Today we discuss on a new chapter that is on the non-cooperation movement. Myself, Deepak Kurita, Assistant Professor, Department of History, Morgaon College. So, non-cooperation movement, which started in the 1920 and it was continued up to 1922. Before we discuss about the non-cooperation movement, we have to learn about the background of the Gandhi. So Gandhi had returned from South Africa in 1915 and before joining in the Indian National Congress or the mainstream of the Indian national movement, he had used his techniques in the three different areas. One is Champaran Satyagraha, which was in 1917, Khera movement in 1918, and Ahmedabad mill strike, which he was successfully solved the problem. And then from then time onwards, Gandhi became very popular in the Indian national politics. আজি আমি আলোচনা কৰিম অসহযোগ আন্দোলনৰ বিষয়ে, যি আন্দোলন আৰম্ভ হৈছিলে 1920 চনত আৰু এই আন্দোলন 1922 চনলৈকে এই আন্দোলন চলিছিলে। অসহযোগ আন্দোলনৰ সম্পৰ্কে আলোচনা কৰাৰ আগতে আমি মহাত্মা গান্ধীৰ সম্পৰ্কে আমি জানিব লাগিব। মহাত্মা গান্ধীৰ আমি তেওঁৰ আগৰ কথাখিনি সকলোৱে জানো। গতিকে আজি মহাত্মা গান্ধী দক্ষিণ আফ্ৰিকাৰ পৰা ঘূৰি অহাৰ পাছত কিদৰে তেওঁ ভাৰতত এই আন্দোলনটো আৰম্ভ কৰিলে তাৰ সম্পৰ্কে আজি আমি আলোচনা কৰিম। এতিয়া এই যেটো অসহযোগ আন্দোলন, এই অসহযোগ আন্দোলন আৰম্ভ কৰাৰ আগতে গান্ধীজীয়ে তিনি ঠাইত ভাৰতবৰ্ষৰ খেতিয়ক আৰু শ্ৰমিকৰ সমস্যাসমূহ সমাধান কৰিছিল আৰু তাৰ পিছত মহাত্মা গান্ধী এক ৰাষ্ট্ৰীয় নেতালৈ ৰূপান্তৰিত হৈছিল। এই আন্দোলন কেইটা আছিল চম্পাৰণ সত্যাগ্ৰহ 1917, আহমেদাবাদ মিল ষ্ট্ৰাইক 1918, খেৰা মুভমেণ্ট 1918। এতিয়া মহাত্মা গান্ধীয়ে এই তিনিটা আন্দোলনত সফলতা লাভ কৰাৰ পাছত আমি দেখিবলৈ পাইছিলোঁ যে তেওঁ এই অসহযোগ আন্দোলন আৰম্ভ কৰিছিলে। এতিয়া প্ৰশ্ন হয় যে মহাত্মা গান্ধীয়ে এই অসহযোগ আন্দোলন আৰম্ভ কৰা বা তেওঁ কিদৰে কংগ্ৰেছৰ নেতৃত্ব লাভ কৰিছিলে সেইটো এটা জানিবলগীয়া বিষয়। সেই সম্পৰ্কে আমি যেতিয়া জানিবলৈ যাওঁ তেতিয়া আমি দেখোঁ যে যেতিয়া নেকি বাল গংগাধৰ তিলকৰ মৃত্যু হৈছিলে, মৃত্যু হোৱাৰ পাছত দেখা গৈছিলে যে মহাত্মা গান্ধীয়ে এই আন্দোলনৰ নেতৃত্ব বহন কৰিছিলে। তাৰ আগতে আমি ক'ব পাৰোঁ যে মহাত্মা গান্ধীয়ে এই আন্দোলনৰ বা জাতীয় কংগ্ৰেছৰ আন্দোলনৰ বা ভাৰতীয় জাতীয় আন্দোলনৰ নেতৃত্ব লোৱাৰ আগতে ভাৰতীয় জাতীয় কংগ্ৰেছ কিন্তু বা ভাৰতীয় জাতীয় আন্দোলন কিছু সংখ্যক লোকৰ মাজতে সীমাবদ্ধ আছিলে, কিন্তু মহাত্মা গান্ধীয়ে জইন কৰাৰ পাছতে এই আন্দোলন এক ব্যাপক লোকৰ সমৰ্থন লাভ কৰিবলৈ সক্ষম হৈছিলে। এতিয়া আমি আহোঁ অসহযোগ আন্দোলনৰ বিভিন্ন কাৰণবিলাকৰ সম্পৰ্কে আলোচনা কৰিবলৈ যোৱাৰ আগতে আমি এটা কথা জানি ল'ব লাগিব যে মহাত্মা গান্ধীৰ আদৰ্শ কেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ আছিল বা মহাত্মা গান্ধীৰ দৰ্শন কেনেকুৱা ধৰণৰ আছিল। Before we discuss about the non-cooperation movement, we have to learn about the ideology of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi did not believe in violence and the whole movement was run in a non-violent way. I have already told you that the movement was started in 1920 and it was continued up to 1922. So after death of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, actually there is a shortage of leadership in the Indian National Congress. So with the joining of the Mahatma Gandhi in the Indian National Movement or the Indian National Congress, Indian National Congress became a mass organization and the support of the mass people and joining of the Indian National Congress, the support of the Indian National Congress gained the support of the mass people and it became a mass movement. Now coming into the background of the movement, if you look at the background of the movement, There are some background which are responsible for the outbreak of the non-cooperation movement. So the background of the movement was provided by the impact of the First World War, the Rowlatt Act, the British policy, Montego-Semsport Act, that is the Act of 1919, Jallianwala Massacre, Khilafat movement, and the changes in the policy of the Congress. So that is the background of the movement. If you look at the Montego-Semsport Act, the failure of the 1919 reform also responsible for the outbreak of the movement. If you look at the 1919 Montego-Semsport Act, it did not satisfy the common people or the Indian people, and they felt that the reforms were contrary to the promise made during the Great War. The miserable failure of democracy in the provinces created a lot of discontentment and distrust among the leaders of the Congress, including the moderates. Hence, they demanded that the diocese should be abolished in the provinces and it should be replaced by the full responsible government. Next, coming into the Rowlatt Act. The Rowlatt Act of March 21, 1919. The Defence of India Act was passed by the British Parliament on the eve of the individual citizen, the Great War. But the British government wanted to retain this power into its hands. Therefore, it appointed a committee under the chairmanship of Justice Rowlatt of London High Court to investigate into the revolutionary movement and recommend legislation necessary to deal with it effectively. The Rowlatt Committee recommended to confer on the police and the magistrate to arrest anybody subjected to attempts to overthrow the government. Secondly, to try them in a special court. Thirdly, to inflict any kind of punishment for any length of time. Fourthly, to charge to the house of any person without warrant or to take possession of their property to the restrict their movement. These recommendations were opposed by all political groups in India, but the government did not pay any kind of attention to them. On the basis of the committee's report, the British government had introduced two bills, popularly known as the Rowlatt Act, Central Legislature in February 1919. And with the passing of the Rowlatt Act on the March 21, 1919, the people observing hartal, fasting, prayers, etc. against the implementation of Rowlatt Act. It was a grand success and Gandhiji emerged as an all India leader. In Delhi and in other places, it marred by the outbreak of the violence. Gandhiji was arrested and his arrest was condemned by the people all over the country. Next, coming to the massacre of Jallianwala Bagh, which was in the 13th April 1919. Though the hurdle of 6 April passed off peacefully, the date of enacting Rowlatt Act, but the arrest and deportation of the Mr. Satyapal and Dr. Kichilu were two popular leaders of Punjab on 10th of April led to the disturbances in Amritsar. As a protest against this, the shops in Amritsar were closed and the people took out possession to the residence of Deputy Commissioner and demanded their release. On the 11th of April, General Dyer was put in charge in the city and with the instruction to take whatever steps he considered necessary to re-establish civil control. So, আমি ক'ব পাৰোঁ যে জালিয়ানৱালা বাগৰ যিটো হত্যাকাণ্ড, এই হত্যাকাণ্ডৰ ক্ষেত্ৰত কি হৈছিলে, যিখন আমি ক'ব পাৰোঁ যে ৰাওলাট এক্ট পাছ হৈছিলে, এই ৰাওলাট এক্টৰ বিৰুদ্ধাচৰণ কৰি পাঞ্জাৱত বিশেষকৈ ইয়াৰ বিৰুদ্ধে ক্ষোভ প্ৰকাশ হৈছিলে আৰু সেই সময়ছোৱাত আমি ক'ব পাৰোঁ যে তাত ডেপুটি কমিশ্যনাৰ ঘৰত ঘেৰাও কৰা হৈছিলে আৰু ডক্টৰ সত্যপাল আৰু কিচিলু যিকেইজনক এৰেষ্ট কৰা হৈছিলে আৰু ডিপৰ্ট কৰা হৈছিলে, চ' তেওঁলোকক মুকলি কৰি দিবৰ কাৰণে চৰকাৰক জনসাধাৰণে আহ্বান জনাইছিলে। সেই সময়তে 11 এপ্ৰিল তাৰিখে অমৃতসৰৰ তেওঁক জেনেৰেল ডায়াৰক অমৃতসৰৰ এজন অফিচাৰ হিচাপে নিযুক্তি দিয়া গৈছিলে আৰু তেওঁক আইনী যিবিলাক কাম কাজ বা ল এণ্ড অৰ্ডাৰৰ কাম কাজবিলাক চোৱা চিতা কৰাৰ দায়িত্ব দিয়া গৈছিলে। তো Dyer had arrested many people and banned in the public meeting. Being ignorant about this ban, the people of the Amritsar announced a public meeting on 13 April 1919 at Jallianwala Bagh to protest against the firing. The government took no steps to prevent the meeting. About 20,000 people attended the meeting. The meeting was over. In all, 1,500 in all